welcome to the Velvet YouTube channel. It's so good to see you once again, and I have some exciting news for you this time round. You have formed a bond of friendship with someone who excels in both self-assertion and in victory itself. And that is why they have been linked to the Chariot Arcana. A word of warning though, however, try not to break her Trial of the Dragon DVD. It would end poorly for you. But please, visit us once again, and I'm sure new bonds of friendship will have opened up to you by then. Until next time, good evening. You want to hear the reason why I eat meat? Because it's there. This is a statement of Chie Satonaka from Persona 4. And of course that's what we're going to be talking about today. The Figma Chie Satonaka, the first human character from the Persona 4 series. That's an action figure and not a statue. And straight off you can see why Figma are so good at doing their anime girls. And other figures as well, but why they are known for doing anime girls. The sculpt on Chie is really good. They've got down some really fantastic details. They've even bothered to paint a lot of stuff that they didn't have to do. For instance, they could have just done something really simple with the buttons on a shirt, on a jumper I should say, but they didn't. They went to the effort and they painted them as accurately as they could. The shoes as well. Man, those are some pretty awesome shoes, and I don't give a crap about shoes. Because they went to the effort of actually giving them laces and stuff, I was like, man, that's really cool. I appreciate that. And generally the figure looks really nice. It's really accurate. There are some problems, but I find the problems it has are kind of just things that Figma has issues with, like the knees, and especially the back of the knees. I always find on Figmas are a bit weird. And break the aesthetic a little bit. Not to the point where I get angry, but to the point where I'm like, oh, well, you know, fair enough. It's just how they joint their toys. It only has some other problems, just here and there, a little bit with the paint apps on a jacket, but it's really not too bad considering how much paint they've put on this figure. It's really cool. Okay guys, so let's check out the articulation of Chie here, and we'll start off with her head. And one thing to mention straight away is her collar here is all plasticky, and one scary thing about this is because of the way her hair is made, when you bend her head up like this, part of it gets poked like that, so over time it may damage the toy. I'm not entirely sure. A little bit worrying though. The collar doesn't really hinder apart from moving up. She can still move her head down a good amount and have the classic Chie chin in head. The head turns, and as you can see it does bend the collar a little bit, but I think it should be okay. You know, you can move the head fairly easily. I don't think there's any issue. The arms are on a ball joint here as I straighten this out. And they do look nice, so we can wiggle them around and drop the shoulder down a hell of a long way. And we can have the arm out nearly a full 90. It also rotates there, and we get a bend in the elbow, which is just over 90. Not much, but just over the 90-degree angle. The fists here, as I take this out, are on a peg. I wouldn't recommend twisting them while in the slots here. It's very unsafe to do that, but the hands do move like that, and if you do want to turn them, I wouldn't recommend it like that. I would recommend pulling it out and then putting it in at a different angle, just to be safe. Now she does have a crunch, an ab crunch here, and is hidden by this plastic bit and a little bit restrained by it. Not a huge amount, but you know, I would prefer to have the figure look as accurate to the show as possible. You don't get a huge amount of articulation there, but the waist joint here works really well. Again, this is plastic and keeps the look of the figure really nice. I mean, there's no break in the sculpt at all here at all, which is great. So we'll straighten these arms out as well. And yeah, guys, let's check out this chick's skirt. It's short and pliable as hell. It's also two separate pieces here, which is good because it helps the toy be able to do some leg movements and whatnot. Speaking of them, the knee can bend a really good amount, you know, fairly human-ish. The leg can go out with the skirt there, about that far. And yes, just because of how Figma do the legs, the back of the leg looks a bit weird. It can twist below the knee a little bit, but a little bit scary. we also can move the leg back about that far, which is a good amount again, and lift the legs out. Well, we can do that one there, and yeah, she can get a fair good stance on her, you know, if you want to spread her legs and whatnot. She also has a thigh swivel, but we're going to have to check up her skirt here because you can't twist it that much, but I'll show you where the cut is here. It's actually the ball joint. As I try and angle this correctly, you can see there's the ball joint, and you can just see that that's where the thigh swivel is as I swivel her crotch. Fantastic stuff. I love swiveling her crotch. Yes, oh, yeah, one more thing. The feet do bend down, and obviously they bend up. You can get it a good amount there, and we do have a left and right motion, but it's a little bit hindered by the socks, I guess. And we do have a very slight ankle twist, but it's not amazing. It's not the best thing about the articulation here. But yeah, you can really get some hella good poses out of Chie just because of all these really neat and easy to move joints. I found other Figmas have been a bit dicey when it comes to posing, but this has been a pleasure to play with. I will say that. All the joints are really good. But we'll take her away now, and it's time for some accessories, I think. First off, we have the closed fists, which she comes pegged in with the packaging for punching dudes. She comes open with these two open hands, but the two fingers at the end are kind of stuck together, so, you know, I guess they're kind of action-y. We have two hands that are shooting the guns and are like, blam, 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 because I'm the man, or hot chick, whatever. Then we have two holdy things hands, but unfortunately nothing to hold, so maybe future releases will have stuff for her to hold, I guess. And of course, finally, we have this hand, I should say, and this is to hold specifically the glasses. Next up here, we have the hand rack, which you get with all Figmas, and you can get all the hands bar two, which will be pegged into the figure anyway, plugged in here, so you can keep them all safe and secure, which is awesome. Now we have two pairs of her glasses for in the TV world, so she can see through that nasty old fog. On one side of the parts that go over your ears. I don't know the technical term for them, but we have the painted bit on there. On the other side, we don't. One issue I do have with these, though, is on one of the lenses you can see on the left pair of glasses, there's a yellow spot. That is actually the part that would go over your ears. It could have been placed a little bit further off to the side, so it's not covering up a bit of the glass, but it's not a huge issue, but something worth mentioning. And who can talk about glasses without having the joke pair of glasses? Yes, the famous joke pair. And these are pretty awesome, I do say. I really have a lot of fun with these glasses and Chie. And luckily, I will say I've seen a couple of reviews where some of the paint on the nose have been a little bit off. Luckily, the paint on mine, as you can see, is fine. It looks really good. But something to watch out for if you can. If you can't, you're just going to have to play the gauntlet game, I'm afraid. Next up here, we have a different headpiece, or hairpiece, I should say, to actually hold her glasses, because the other one doesn't. And we have a kick effect part, so it looks like she's kicking through the air and she's got some power. It's got a nice shape and not too bad colour to it. It's a little bit sharp as well, so that's kind of neat little effects part. Now, because this is a Figma, she does have some interchangeable faces. Could have done with more. But first up, we have her angry face looking off to the side here, which is pretty cool. And next we have her creepy shadow face. And of course unique, because I don't think any of the other characters are going to come with a shadow face, which is a shame. I would have preferred, I think, another maybe a happy Chie or maybe a sad looking Chie face instead. But it's still a nice little one to have. And of course we have this really cool stand that she comes with a lot of posability to it. Not much weight, unfortunately, but hell, you get a free stand with your figure. That's something that Figure Arts don't do, so that's awesome. Now, I'm not someone who has a huge amount of Figmas, so it's hard to give a huge comparison, but out of the few that I do have, Deadmaster from Blackrock Shooter and Aegis, I think this is my favourite of the Figmas so far. Oh, I do have the Kamen Rider Dragon Knight ones as well, but that's neither here nor there. Chie is still the best out of them. She's easy to play with, her joints are a lot smoother. I don't feel like they're going to break, like unfortunately I did with my Aegis figure, which was very depressing. She's a very fun and animated looking character. She looks exactly how she's meant to from both the game and the actual anime, so she ticks all of the right boxes for me. She could have perhaps done with, like I mentioned before, a couple more faces, but because she is on the cheaper end of the Figma scale, she's not like the really expensive ones which go up to about 3,000. She's the low 2,000, so it's hard to complain for those kind of prices. It's a really good first step on the hopefully fruitful Persona 4 Figma line that they're going to continue. Next up we have Yukiko Amagi, which will be coming out at the end of this month or next month, I think. I can't remember. This month being July, next month being August, of course. And I really look forward to getting her as well. I really hope that we find out if we're going to get any more of these characters in the future, because I want a full line. I really do. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this video has made you consider picking up the ever-loving meat lover of the Persona 4 universe. Not in the sexual way, guys. And maybe this will make you want to go and play the game or watch the anime, because it really should, if you ask me. Anyway, thank you guys, and I will catch you next time for something else.